This is the overview video for Mathshare version 1.4.1 released on July 25th, 2020. We have three notable updates to this. First is that you can now change the text-to-speech reading speed from your settings panel. Crossed out equations are described in text-to-speech with a crossed out and n cross out around the portion that is crossed out. And then also the replace box that comes with the cross out and replace function is now next to it at full size instead of the upper right corner, which could sometimes look like a superscript. And then also text-to-speech does read out the replace box as well. So let's take a look at those. We're going to start off on a problem solving page here within Mathshare. And so we're going to work through this one, but first we will look at the text-to-speech settings. So I'm selecting my user icon in the upper right, and then selecting personalization from the menu. And you can see towards the bottom we have text-to-speech as a new section, and then speed. So there is a slider bar with slowest, medium, and fastest, and then a text input box on the right hand side that has the percent speed. The default is medium speed, which is also 50%. So first we'll listen to that.
Solve for x2x minus 10 equals 10.
So that was the prompt that was just read aloud, and now we're going to adjust the speed so it's at 60% instead. So I'm now going to use the slider, and I'm selecting and dragging it to the right. It goes by increments of 5 when you're using the slider bar. You can also adjust the speed with the up and down arrows on your keyboard when you have the text input box selected, or type in a speed as well. So I'm now going to save this at 60% speed. We'll go back and we'll listen to that same prompt for the problem.
Solve for x2x minus 10 equals 10.
And so you can adjust that down to 0%, which would be the slowest, or 100%, which would be the fastest. And again, the default speed is 50%. So I'm going to change this back to our default of 50%. The next part that I want to show off then is the cross out and replace functionality, and what that sounds like when it's read aloud, and then also the replace box. So first what we'll do is I'm going to highlight this one. So in my equation we have 2x, and then we had minus 10. So we're going to be adding 10 to both sides of this equation. So in this first part here, we have negative 10 plus 10. That is going to be crossing out to 0. So I'm going to, or that equals out to 0. So I'm simply going to use the cross out function right there. And then and then on the other side of the equation, it's going to be then plus 20. So I'm going to first select the cross out and replace, but I won't type anything in. And we're going to listen to what this says. So I'm going to so what this looks like is 2x and then minus 10 plus 10, but that minus 10 plus 10 is crossed out, and then equals 10 plus 10 with the 10 plus 10 crossed out, and then there's a replace box. So we're going to first have that read aloud.
2x crossed out minus 10 plus 10. N cross out. Equals crossed out 10 plus 10. N cross out. Placeholder. Add 10 to both sides.
And so you can hear it read that replace box. That's the placeholder. So that's what we can now type something into. So I'm going to type in 20 now into that placeholder box, and we'll have this read aloud one more time.
2x crossed out minus 10 plus 10. N cross out. Equals crossed out 10 plus 10. N cross out. 20. Add 10 to both sides.
And that add 10 to both sides was my explanation for that step. So that kind of showed off a couple of different things of that cross out replace box being something that, so if I undo it, that the replace holder for cross out and replace is kind of that full size instead of a superscript looking one up there. So those are the big changes that we have in Mathshare version 1.4.1. That again was the text-to-speech settings and personalization, how it is that crossed out functions are read aloud, and then also the placement and reading of the cross out and replace box.